Hello and welcome to episode 66 of the Alfa Romeo Driver Podcast, brought to you by the Alfa Romeo Owners Club. I'm Guy Swarbrick, and with me this afternoon I have Ian Willis, who's the head of personal lines at the club's insurance scheme provider CKI, better known to most of us as Chris Knott Insurance. Good afternoon, Ian.
Hiya, Guy. How you doing?
It's a little bit an unusual podcast for us because normally the people that we talk to are, club members or are involved in the club through the cars in some kind of way. But we've done a few podcasts with some of our important partners before. And we've talked to one of your team, Ashley, a few months ago, who is an Alfa owner. But I thought it'd be useful just for the members to understand a little bit about the relationship that CKI has with the Owners Club and a little bit about the history of that relationship.
Yeah, sure. So Chris Knott, the person, who's obviously the founder of the business, that stems back to 1983. And then very shortly after that, Chris established a relationship with the Alfa Owners Club, recognising the members as a good profile of drivers, really, from an insurance perspective, because they're enthusiasts, they look after their cars, they take an interest. Some may tinker under the bonnet, but generally they're well maintained and looked after. And so, we recognise that as a good, strong profile for an insurer. So the relationship stems back nearly 40 years now, and it's always been a very strong relationship. We've worked quite closely with the club. Haven't done so many events over the last couple of years for obvious reasons. But yeah, we plan to get back under the way, doing a few more events over the next 12 months and foreseeable, really. So yeah, stems back to the 80s, really.
And in terms of the kind of quid pro quo, obviously we promote you as an insurer, and then obviously you support events and things, but there's a financial benefit for the club as well, isn't there?
Yes, absolutely. So for every policy sold to a club member, the Alfa Club get a kickback of the commission. So yeah, I think that's generated quarterly and paid directly to the club. And that's across all lines of business as well. So it's not just your Alfa that's insured with us. It could be your home insurance, breakdown products, a whole range of insurance products. And
just so that members understand, I mean, we're a non-profit making organisation, obviously, but that money goes towards keeping our membership fees as low as they are and have been for some time now. So it's a big benefit for club members. One of the questions that I'm often asked about insurance, and I'm sure you get this as well. My background, I actually worked for Lloyd's of London for a couple of years. So I do have some kind of background in the industry. Everybody gets really excited about direct insurers and comparison sites, and I think people have kind of lost sight of what a broker's role is in the whole process. So just sum up why a broker is different to those other ways of buying insurance.
Yeah, sure. So there's a few different categories of people when you're shopping for insurance. There's the purely price driven, which is understandable, certainly with the way everything is at the moment. Money is a massive factor. So a lot of those types of clients will be driven just to online. Oh, look, Admiral are quoting £150, that's fine, that'll do. Others like to have a bit more of a personal service, have someone finding a range of products that might be suitable for them and presenting them to them. And that's one of the benefits of coming to a broker's. We have more of a conversation with our clients rather than a heavily scripted question set. We don't have a script. We just have a conversation and build up an understanding of the client, what their needs are. And then we will go and source, 2 or 3 products and present them to them along with the price. In terms of price, we are still competitive, even though we've got some cheap rates on the comparison sites, which are hard to compete with. And again, if you pick up the phone to us, I don't think you'll be waiting. I don't want to put a precise time, but we'd be tested. But you wouldn't be waiting any longer than 5 to 10 minutes, And if you ring a big insurance company or go online, you might not even be able to speak to someone. You might have to do all the transmissions yourself. So if you did a change of vehicle, you'd be processing yourself that online. Whereas you call us, we'll do that for you. We'll administer the policy for you. So you get a bit more of a personal service.
So to a certain extent, you are doing a kind of more focused version of what a comparison site does, because you're not just going for the same insurance company every time. You're comparing prices.
Exactly
for
that.
the level of offer that the customer wants.
Yeah, totally. We unlike the comparison sites who have hundreds of contracts, ranging from very basic comprehensive policies to, fully comprehensive policies. We have a panel of insurers that we've had long-standing relationships with that have got tried and tested policies that are brand names, household recognised names, rather than just, I don't know, there's some weird ones out there now that are just like names. And you think, well, who are they? What cover do you get? That's the question people should be asking. What level of cover am I getting? Am I going to get the service I'm expecting, and things like that? Can I pick up the phone and get through to people? What are their admin fees? That's another thing that we pride ourselves on. Our admin fees are extremely low in compared to the rest of the market. So there's several benefits to picking up the phone and having a conversation with us.
I guess most people, if things are going well, they'll have one conversation with you and then accept the renewal letter every year. And the reason insurance works is that most of them won't make a claim. But what's the process when there is a claim to be made?
Okay, so we work along with a partner that deals with our claims for us. So you ring up our free phone number, and even if it's outside of office hours, there's an option, I think it's option 1, that will take you straight through to the claims management team that are 24-hour 365. They will do some initial questions, find out whether it's fault or non-fault from the basic information they've got, and then they will route the call accordingly. So you'll either deal with our legal team, or you will deal with the insurer, or you have the option. You can choose if you prefer to go direct to the insurer. That's an option as well.
Okay. I said if everything goes well, you'll just accept the renewal. What should you do if you get a renewal and you think, that seems a bit steep?
Well, we always advise that people shop around. That's in our renewal letter every year. We always suggest that people have a look and compare, but we always ask that clients will give us a call back and give us an opportunity, because what we do when we review a renewal about 21 days before the renewal date, we will always search the panel of insurers that we've got to make sure that we're still offering the most competitive and the most suitable. And if a client does get a cheaper quote elsewhere, give us a call. As long as we can have a look at the quote that they've got and it's on a like-for-like basis, we can then go to whoever their insurer is in question and negotiate and try and match or beat that price for them. And 9 times out of 10, we will do that. It's only a handful of occasions where we won't be able to do that because it's a very cheap quote, for example.
Yeah. So you said that it depends on the quote whether you're able to renegotiate it. What does actually affect the price of an insurance quote? Because, sometimes the prices you get quoted for 2 cars that on paper seem similar, even though they're similar performance, similar type of car, might be very different, or 2 people's quotes for the same car might be very different. What are the factors that determine how much you pay?
Okay, so age is definitely a factor. Where you live, your postcode area specifically, because that will be based on insurance data on how many claims have happened in that area, how many thefts, that sort of thing. And then particular types of vehicles, for example, a BMW X5, they went through a phase of being stolen quite frequently. So because they were a targeted vehicle, it made it very difficult for us in particular to cover those vehicles. Other factors would be where it's parked overnight, total mileage. So average mileage is probably 10 to 12,000 if you're commuting to and from work. If you've got an element of business use as well, and that pushes it up a bit, obviously your exposure to the roads is greater, and therefore the risk of you being involved in a claim is greater. So that's another factor. Claims experience. So if you've had several fault incidents, then obviously you're going to be deemed as a higher risk driver. And the same if you're a repeat offender with speeding convictions, for example, then that's going to go against you. There's a whole raft of factors. I mean, pretty much every question we ask will help generate that quote.
And you talked about the number of claims you've made. No claims bonus has always been a bit of a mystery to me. A, the fact that you can have more than one, and B, determining, how you get to the maximum, what the maximum is. So how does that all work? No
claims bonus has always been my bugbear in this industry. Having worked in it for over 20 years, I always find it difficult that each insurer will have, some will maximum is 9, some say 9 plus, some go to 22 or beyond. And that's quite difficult to explain to a customer that maybe came to us with 10 years they've been with us for a year, but their renewal might only show 9 years plus. And you can understand that they feel like they're losing out in some respect. But once you get to maximum no claims bonus, as it's referred to, which is probably anything over 5 years and up, you can protect your no claims. Protected no claims allows you to have, again, this varies with each insurer, but for example, one provider, Highway, who are part of Liverpool Victoria, they will allow you to have 2 claims in a 5-year period where it won't affect your no claims discount if you've got the protection. So if you've got the protection, that doesn't mean that your premium's not going to go up because you've had a claim. That still goes up, but it would be a double whammy, if you like, if you didn't have the protected. We can protect bonus after you've got 4 years and up. So, some are 5, some even do as low as 3, but you'll have at least 4 with ourselves. The other thing you touched on with the 2 cars, you earn no claims bonus on each individual policy. So if you came to us with your car and you've got 9 years bonus, we could insure that. Then 6 months down the line, you decide you want a weekend car or a classic. A weekend car, say a second vehicle, you would build up a second set of no claims bonus. So effectively, with the second car, you start from 0 again and work your way up. But having said that, we would factor in that you've got 9 years bonus on your main car, and we would incorporate a discount in the workings of our quotation to reflect that.
Okay. We'll come back to classics in a minute.
Yes.
A couple of other things to pick up on. You talked about license endorsements. Presumably the rule there is to tell you as soon as you know. Yes,
absolutely. Yeah. It may not impact the premium until the next renewal because you've paid, but the best thing to do is notify us straight away. All we'd need is the conviction date, the code, and any points, and then we can update your insurer accordingly.
Yeah. And then there's the area, I think, particularly for younger drivers, but not exclusively, of modifications. And I guess there's 2 reasons why you would want to tell your insurer about modifications. One is it might affect the premium in terms of the effect on the vehicle. But I guess the other one is if you've done an expensive modification and not told them, you're not going to get paid for that to be repaired.
Absolutely. There's a few different views that an insurer will take for non-disclosure. The harshest is they will just refuse to pay for the claim. They'll just void the policy, and then you're lumbered with not only the cost of your damage, but the third party as well. The other option would be the insurer will look at it and say, okay, you've paid X, you should have paid Y. You need to pay the difference before we will, we'll carry on with the claim. So that's the more straightforward view, if you like. But yeah, absolutely. The best thing to do is just let us know. I think people have a fear that it's modified or not. I don't want to tell them because it's going to go up. It doesn't always go up. But like you say, if someone's spent £10,000 on a set of alloys, you're going to want those covered. You're not just going to want a standard manufacturer's set back. So yeah, always let us know. And there are some of the cosmetic modifications there's no charge for. So, it's easy just to pick up the phone and be honest.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing that I've heard varying stories about is engine mapping, where I think some insurers have a kind of percentage increase beyond which they don't really, or below which they don't really care, and beyond that they will charge an extra, and even further than that they won't insure at all. So is that another situation where it just depends who the insurer is, where those thresholds are?
Yes, absolutely. They all vary. We've got some that will just allow us to load it based on a percentage, like you suggested. Others, when it gets to a point where it's 100 brake horsepower increase or more, then we would need to speak to the underwriter at the insurers and say, this is the situation. They normally look at what sort of experience they've had previously. If that ties in and it's just a step up, it's not normally an issue, and it's just a percentage loading again. But yeah, there are other insurers that will, up to a certain amount is fine. And it's just a case of notification at that point, just letting us know.
And again, something that seems to vary a lot, and there's a lot of old wives' tales, I guess, or assumptions from people, is the point at which your premiums start to reduce with age. So obviously if you're 17, any policy is going to be cripplingly expensive. Yeah. But there's kind of a perception that there's a reduction at 25 and maybe another one at 30. what's the reality in terms of how your premiums are likely to go down over time?
I would definitely agree with that. I would say even at 23, you'd start to notice a bit of a difference because you've had a good few years of experience driving. Then you would have built up some no claims bonus. So at that point, you should start to notice a real difference. But yeah, the key starting point really is 25, because at that point, you lose any young or inexperienced excess that might apply to the policy, because again, that sometimes gets overlooked. You'll have your compulsory and any voluntary that you've selected, but also if you're under 25, there may be a young and inexperienced driver excess that would apply. But yeah, certainly 25, you will definitely start to see some premiums that are more favourable.
And the other area, which I suspect isn't an issue for most of our members, because most of our members will be fully comp. The other thing I've never really understood, and maybe you can enlighten me, is the way third-party insurance is calculated. I remember when I was younger and went in for an insurance quote, and there was a guy next to me in a old-fashioned broker's office quoting for a different car, but with very similar performance, and vastly different quotes for third-party. And the justification given was that the parts for my car, being an Alfa, were more expensive than his Ford. So leaving aside whether that's actually true, if it's third-party insurance, you wouldn't be buying parts for my car anyway. So is it just because it's actually fully comp discounted down? Is that why it seems to be inequitable? To
be honest, these days, I mean, we hardly do any third-party policies these days. We've probably got less than 10 on the books completely, if I'm honest. There doesn't seem to be so much of a gap in premium these days between third party and fully comp, whereas when I first started driving, there would be, could save a good few £100. So it doesn't seem to be that much of a gap anymore. Yeah, it's a difficult one. I might need to come back to you on that and speak to the underwriters.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand why a third party on a Ferrari would be more expensive than it is on a Mini, because you'd be perceived to be more likely to have an accident. But for like performance and value, you would have thought it should be the same.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think insurers will only insure cars under a certain value on third party as well. There might be a cut-off for that.
Right.
Certainly, I think you'd struggle to get third party fire and theft on a Ferrari. you never know.
Indeed. So let's come back to the subject of classics, because that's another thing where there are classic policies, there are specialist classic insurers. What's the CKI view on what is a classic and how that affects your premiums?
Yeah, I think, again, there's always an assumption that your car's over 20 years, then it's deemed a classic. Well, if you think of a mass-produced vehicle like a Mondeo, for example, just because that's 20 years old, it doesn't make it a classic for obvious reasons. There are various different views on it. I mean, there's a BMW Z4, for example. They're classed as future classics. So even though they were less than 15 years old, you could get a classic car policy for those. So again, it is very vehicle specific in that respect. So we can get a vehicle on a classic as long as all the rest of the criteria fits for anything up from sort of 15 years onwards.
Right, but it has to be on the list of cars that insurer considers to be a classic.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And is there a process for getting them to review that list? And so I have a 15-year-old Alfa Spider, which is just insured on a normal policy at the moment.
Yeah,
I don't know whether that would be on the list or not, but if it wasn't, what would be the process to get it added?
So we've got another option. So if it doesn't tick all the boxes for a pure classic car policy, with the scheme that we've got with Highway, part of Liverpool Victoria, we can get it on an agreed value if that's the main thing that you're looking for. So mileage wouldn't be an issue. So even if you're using it on a daily basis, that's fine. The only thing they do ask is that it's either garaged overnight or covered on the drive,
right,
just so that you're taking that extra precaution. But yeah, in terms of getting it added to the classic list, as you suggest, I think the underwriters would do that as a matter of course. They would be reviewing vehicle models all the time and adding them to those lists.
I know there was some discussion a few years ago about the 916 GTV and Spider, which were the right age and I think considered to be classics by classic car magazines and things, but weren't on most of the insurers' classic car lists. I think that's changed.
Yeah.
But it does seem to be a little bit inconsistent about when they make that transition.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because we run from some through, and they look, vehicles that are manufactured in the 90s, and we still don't get classics come up. And you look at it, but they're not. I mean, that's the other thing. Just because the computer says no, we can pick up the phone and speak to the underwriters and say, look, come on, guys, this is a 1996 Alfa. This is classic all day long. Can we put it on your scheme? And again, we will get it on there. But as I say, worst case scenario, if we can't get it on the classic, we have got another option on an everyday policy with some extensions.
Okay. So I know one of the things that I've noticed over the years is, I think, with the focus on the telephone with CKI, the website wasn't always the easiest thing to use. I think there's been some changes there, though.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we've had a marketing consultant that's come in and given us a full audit and overhaul, and she's done a great job. She's helped us out with a lot of the marketing material that we produce for the club. But yeah, as you pointed out, the website now is a lot more user friendly. It's got a lot of useful news articles, topics of interest to our members. And you've got the quote and buy facility for certain products such as breakdown and gap. But yeah, it's a lot more user friendly. You can also click on there now and receive a callback from us. So rather than have to pick up the phone, you put in some basic details, we get an email and we'll call you at a time that's suitable for you. So,
and I still think of websites and PCs going together, but I know a lot of our younger members are much more likely to look on the phone. Has that improved as well?
Yes, absolutely. With the new website, it's now mobile friendly. So it's, you could be on a tablet, on a tiny little phone, and it's just as slick as the website, so that's good.
You talked earlier on about household policies and other things and how the club benefits from members taking those out. Is there a good reason why a member should go to you for other parts of their insurance portfolio? And I know a lot of our members are running businesses and stuff as well. So what's the kind of full scope of the products that you have?
Yep. So I head up the personal lines team. So I look after motor and home basically. And that's sales and renewals and new business. We've got Adam Taylor, who heads up our commercial team. He looks after shops, offices. We can do unoccupied properties, holiday homes, second homes. We've recently taken on some schemes for more specific things like allotment insurance, canine insurance, imaging schemes. So that's for photographers and things like that. So yeah, we pretty much cover most. We do a range of liability cover, public, professional, indemnity, and employers liability. So yeah, and combined insurance. So small shops, offices, pretty much everything. So yeah, worth giving us a call for if you're looking for commercial insurance as well. Absolutely.
Brilliant. One of the things that not something that applies to me, but I know some people have much bigger car collections. And by the time you've added together all the premiums, that can get really expensive. I think there's a new product in that area.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a couple of options on that front. More for the collector's cars. So if you've got a couple of classics, an everyday car, a modified car, you might have a whole range of vehicles. We can put them all onto one policy with one particular insurer. And again, if at the moment you've got them scattered over the year, various different renewal dates, we can pro rata those. So we bring them all into one policy with one single renewal date for those customers that require that.
And is there a top and bottom to that range? So you talked about two classics and an everyday. Is 3 the baseline?
No, in terms of the baseline.
One would be too little, obviously.
Yes. I'd say definitely two upwards, without a doubt. I don't think we've reached the top limit, actually. We've got one guy that we've just done 7 vehicles with, and that wasn't too many. So I guess maybe it gets to 10 and something like that. Maybe that would be the upper limit.
Brilliant. And the other thing about Alfa's kind of strategy over the last year, and even more so in the next couple of years from what we can tell, is that there've been some quite high value specialist cars like the GTAM that came out last year. Yeah. Is it possible to insure those kind of cars with you?
Yes, funnily enough, we quoted 2 Alfa GTAMs in the last 12 months, one of which we've now got on the books, and that's on a really pristine comprehensive policy. So it says in the wording that you get a like-for-like policy, a like-for-like courtesy car. I don't know if it would be specifically an Alfa GTO.
That is going to be a challenge.
But you would get a vehicle that you wouldn't get a Nissan Micra, for example.
Right.
You get comprehensive driving other cars. Family members can also drive your vehicle without being named on the policy. There's a huge amount of benefits to those types of policies. So yeah, we absolutely can cover those.
That sounds a great policy for a GTAM.
Yeah.
Also sounds like a good policy for somewhat lesser cars. So is that a policy that you can have on, presumably it's slightly more expensive, but is that a policy you can have on more ordinary classic and performance cars?
I think the vehicle value limit is 50,000. It has to be at least 50,000, and then we can look at that. Absolutely. But like you say, you get what you pay for with that one. So you do pay a little bit more money.
Yeah.
But certainly if you're spending 160,000 on a car, you don't mind spending a couple of thousand.
No, and there'll still be some 8C owners and people who've got cars that are in their bracket, even though they're a few years older. Yeah,
absolutely.
Brilliant. Well, I'll know what to do when I can afford to buy a car like that then.
Yeah, give me a ring.
And I think the rumour for the mid-engined 6-cylinder car that's coming out next year is a €300,000 price ticket. So we'll see if it stretches quite that far.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'd like to see a few of them.
I think that is fantastic. A really good introduction to how insurance works and the club's relationship with CKI. So thanks very much for your time.
Good. No problem. Thanks, Guy. Thank you.
That's all for this week. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time on Sunday, the 6th of November. Episode 67 will be available to download from 1:30 p.m. from iTunes, Google Podcasts, Podbean, YouTube, and everywhere else good podcasts are found. Until then, stay safe.